we're having a better week this week than last week. I wouldn't say it's like the best week of my life, but it's definitely an improvement than last week. So, Mary, take it away.
Ever the Sagittarius with Jupiter in the first house. So optimistic. So it is eclipse week, or we're coming down from the eclipse, which happened yesterday, to this episode. And we were kind of talking a little bit before this about sacred rage and how it's probably coming up for people since Mars was in Libra with the South Node for a while, and the eclipse is kind of the culmination of that energy. We also have a few other transits that are going to be happening over the coming week that hopefully will help us honor the sacred rage within us and transmute it in a healthy way. And also understanding that there's nothing wrong with feeling what you're feeling right now, because everybody's kind of on edge. That's just the energy that we're dealing with as a collective. So this week, the sun is still in Libra. The moon will be transiting Libra, of course, from the eclipse through Capricorn. Mercury's in Libra still, and Mars is officially in Scorpio, which is nice because it's out of its sign of detriment. Venus is in its sign of detriment in Virgo, where it'll be, but at least it's direct, and we're kind of moving forward with that. Jupiter is retrograde, Saturn and Uranus, Neptune as well, but Pluto has gone direct. Pluto went direct to 27 degrees of Capricorn
Today,
a few days
as we record
ago.
this.
Yeah, it's today actually, but a few days before this airs. Pluto direct, I feel like, especially with Mars being in Scorpio, is going to allow us to stand up for wherever we've been suppressing, wherever we haven't been fighting back. And, we talked a little bit about vengefulness and that sacred rage that you could be feeling. So Pluto was in retrograde for 5 months. So you could have internalized that, and now it's coming to the surface to be released and dealt with. Interesting too, I just want to skip really quick to there's an asteroid called Karma, and that goes direct in Pisces on Monday the 16th. So that should be pretty interesting, because I wonder if we're going to feel that karmically. I know Saturn is really the karmic planet, but I'm curious to know if the asteroid Karma will also bring some justice as well.
Well, I think it's interesting though, because Pisces, it's at the end of the zodiac. And I think that is sort of like this karmic end. And I also think that's, we do have Saturn in Pisces, and that's probably why there are a lot of things that are kind of ending, because Saturn's at the end of the zodiacal cycle in Pisces. So now you also have karma there. I don't know, I hadn't thought of it until just now, but I do think that's why you see a lot of stuff ending with Saturn there, wrapping things up for that particular cycle.
Yeah, that's a great point, actually. I totally forgot Saturn is there too. So I feel like if anything, karmically, that's going to bring some deliverance, hopefully. Also, we're going to have the sun in conjunct Uranus. That's happening on Monday as well. Mercury in conjunct Uranus happens the day after. But we're having a sun and Mercury cazimi. So that's exact on Friday the 20th. Usually that can bring some epiphanies or sudden insights. It's like that light bulb moment type of energy when the sun is cazimi.
Looking at Chase's wonderful notes. So the sun in conjunct on Monday, on Moon Day, and Mercury in conjunct on Tuesday. So let's think about that. We talked about the in conjunct in another episode, where it's kind of this awkward thing. And so with the sun, you may have some inspiration that you can't quite grasp or something. That's the Monday. And then on Tuesday, you're trying to maybe put it into words, but you still can't quite do it. And then maybe by Friday, when you get that cazimi, you're like, okay, I got it. So if you're frustrated about some inspiration that you're trying to reach next week, just sit with it until Friday.
But sun's also squaring Pluto that squares Mercury that day, and then the next day sun squares Pluto.
So it sounds like epiphany moment, like Pierce saying, but also, kind of struggling to take action. on that.
There's
Or
some sort of power struggle. Maybe it has something to do with somebody else, because the inconjunct can indicate that as well. Or
yeah,
just,
exactly.
you're like you're saying, you're just having a struggle with it, or some sort of force you feel like there's some action you have to take to get out of that struggle, because that's what squares usually indicate. The Sun and Mercury are going to move past Pluto pretty quickly. So just kind of wait. Don't do Plutonian action right then. Just feel
Yeah.
and sit with that energy.
And I feel like it could also just be like outside circumstances that are out of your control too.
Exactly. That's the
And
square.
then Sun square Pluto, which I actually have in my natal chart. Fun. that happens the next day. So overall, I feel like, the greatest one that's happening is the Cazimi. The rest of them, there's Venus
when is
trine
the
Jupiter.
Venus trine Jupiter?
It starts at the beginning of the week 7 degrees away, and then at the end of the week it ends at 1 degree away.
Okay, great. So it's kind of
so that'll soothe. Yeah, that'll soothe everything over.
Yeah, so that's happening the whole week, getting closer and closer and closer at the end.
Nice. So, I mean, Venus is in detriment, but I still think it's going to be a very much needed energy too. So that'll be nice. And that's going to be influencing the week. And then Neptune sextile Uranus, I feel like this is really kind of getting creative, thinking outside of the box, finding alternative ways to manifest your desires, or whatever epiphanies you could have had this week from the Sun Mercury Cazimi. I think the Neptune sextile Uranus is going to bring like a newness or freshness where you can kind of find alternative ways to do what you need to do. So that's going to be positive. I think we're ending the week on a positive note. Also, keep in mind the eclipse energy is still very much present. Usually it is present for about 6 months. It's funny too, because I heard another astrologer say that it peaks 3 months after the eclipse, and I had never heard that before. I'm curious.
I would tend to agree because of what I talked about previously about the lunar cycle. So just think about the whole lunar cycle. People say the full moon is the release point, but the full moon is really the culmination point. And then the third quarter moon is going to be because it's a square, just like you just said. So there'll be some adjustment needed. So that's why I think the 3 months is like the 3/4 moon after a lunation.
Mercury is going to be opposite the North Node and conjunct the South Node on Thursday, the 19th.
Interesting.
That happens right in the middle of all this stuff.
Perhaps, or some people may, in the sort of in the positive, just find that they have a lot to say or a lot to write. A pouring out of Mercury type things. Maybe since it's in Libra, also with other people, you probably have to be careful if that's like somebody that you're in a relationship with and you're like, you've got these things to say, but Venus is in Virgo, so you're going to potentially be super critical. So you really have to think about the Venus and Mercury. They are in mutual reception, but they really can't see each other. There is some communication there, but there could be the potential to be very critical also about, maybe it has things to do with money or people's appearance, or how you do romantic stuff or whatever it is.
So it seems like this is going to be like a important week, but like not really easy, like challenging.
Yeah, for sure. Especially, coming off of the eclipse with that South Node conjunction, also making sure to not self-sabotage too, like Pierce said, with being too critical, because it's Venus in Virgo. And I'm curious with that one.
Since, we were looking at that Venus trine Jupiter, which is in the earth sign. So think about doing more earthy things, beauty things, or
Virgo, Taurus. How can you do your routine and the things you have to do, but also make it pleasurable or
be relaxed? Yeah, that Venus Jupiter is could be lazy. I don't want to be judgmental, but relaxing, chill. Like it's more my vibe.
With all these squares.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
It's okay to be lazy right now. That's what Venus trine Jupiter is probably going to bring that on it, because it's a highly emotionally charged week. That can get draining pretty fast. Don't feel guilty, basically. If you have to be a little bit lazy, or if you can't, you don't have that luxury, I think it's also going to make it easy to go about a little bit easier to go about your responsibilities in your day-to-day life, being trining Jupiter, since they're in Virgo and Taurus. That should, be a nice way to end the energy too of the week.
Kind of interesting that both Juno and Bride are changing signs, which they're both about marriage on the same day.
Yeah, you just can't make this stuff up with the asteroids. It's like their universe literally talking to us there.
Right.
That's funny. What does that mean? Are all Leos going to get married?
And Virgos for Juno.
So Juno's going to go into the same sign with Venus.
Oh, for Juno into Virgo. And Bride's going into Leo. I would say Juno is more impactful for sure. Going into Virgo. Wow. So I'm having my Juno return. I don't know what that is.
You're getting all these returns. You're getting your Lilith return and your Juno return.
I'm already married. So actually Juno is also like women's rights and your rights within relationship.
For sure.
So that should be pretty interesting.
It's what you need in a relationship.
Juno, it's conjunct my ascendant exact. At 8 degrees of Virgo. So we'll see how that manifests. I know Lilith is also in Virgo. Lots of Virgo energy right now, which is cool because we haven't really had transits in Virgo since I believe last September, or it's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Virgo had a ton of shit in there
Couple
of months.
And then obviously, Saturn's in Pisces making oppositions to people who have Virgo placements, which is hard, but we haven't really had much happening in Virgo until now. Hopefully Virgos are catching a little bit of a break right now.
Poor Virgos.
Poor Virgo. Thank you.
I'm kind of a Virgo.
I feel like it's always poor Virgos because Virgos worry about every single thing possible, every made up scenario that they can imagine they will worry about until they make themselves sick. Pray for the Virgos out there. We need it.
Yeah, that's right.
And then we have Mercury opposite North Node and conjunct South Node. We talked about that one. Black Moon Lilith conjunct Saturn.
In conjunct.
Or in conjunct. Oh, can't read.
Very similar words.
That's going to be not as impactful as the conjunction. So
for sure.
That's not that bad. At some point, I think it's also going to make an opposition to Saturn, which that one will be felt for sure. So yeah, overall, a week of surprising revelations, possibly when the Sun conjuncts Mercury on Friday the 20th. There are some challenging aspects, but there's enough harmonious aspects there to where kind of like a good balance. Not really a boring week, but also not the most difficult week. And it's okay to be lazy if you need to be with Venus trining Jupiter all week. So don't feel guilty about that.
Right. All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.